Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round. I'm here with my friend Patrick.
How's it going, everyone?
And we are here at Fan Expo Philly in the great city of Philadelphia. That's right, that is City Hall behind us. That is the convention center right there. It is a beautiful, sunny Friday afternoon. You would never know that there was a torrential downpour, monsoon, and flooding just hours ago in this very spot.
I know, right?
So we're here for a great weekend of fun, of convention stuff, meeting celebrities. John Rhys-Davies is here. John Cena's here. John Boyega's here. John Carpenter's here. A lot of Johns.
Yep.
A lot of other people, too, that we're excited to meet. So let's go inside and check it out.
Yeah.
So we are here at Fan Expo, and there is none other than John Cena seated right there at the table.
Hey guys, this is Louie from Geek Boy Press. If you look around here, I make all these nerdy t-shirts, I do enamel pins and patches. I've been doing this for about 20 years now. I'm very fortunate to be able to pay the bills making nerdy stuff, so I always love when new people find me, so hopefully you guys take a peek at geekboypress.com. Check it out. Thanks.
Hey guys, Kyle here with Creative Cosplays Magazine, and we're here at Fan Expo this weekend, all weekend long, just showing everybody what we got. So we have a cosplay magazine. We do it year-round. We do about 8 issues a year. It's a voluntary-based issue where we showcase cosplayers, photographers, artists, you name it. Just give them an extra platform to showcase their work in a fun new way. So if you guys are ever interested in being published in a magazine, be sure to check us out, creativecosplays.com. or Instagram, Creative Cosplays Mag.
So for all you Lord of the Rings fans out there, this is Middle-earth. Frodo Baggins began his journey here at the Shire, where he walked to the village of Bree, to Weathertop, and then to Rivendell, then down the mountains through the mines of Moria, into Lothlorien, and then down here through Emyn Muil and all the way down here to Mordor, to the fires of Mount Doom. And that is still only half the distance our parents used to walk to school every day.
For peanuts, really. Because Tolkien didn't think it could be made into a film either. There was an attempt at making a film earlier, which was catastrophically bad. And when I got off the cart, or asked to be in it, I said, yeah, sure. Never been to New Zealand, I'll spend a month there, have a good time, and I get back into the real world again. When I got off at Gimli, I really didn't want to do it, because it was going to be hours in prosthetics. And my manager then lied to me, and she said, no, John, I said, they'll get me down to about an hour. And I said, you don't know what you're talking about. And by God was I right. 8 kilometers of blueprints so far. And I thought, oh Lord, how am I going to get out of this? Oh, there's always a way. Let's watch Peter Jackson direct. And I went and watched him direct, and he solved every problem so easily. His crew clearly loved him. The actors, he just got wonderful performances out of them. And I thought, okay, can't get out of this one. This is going to be a success. And about 3 weeks in, we did a press conference. And at the press conference, there were a lot of people there, very skeptical about Peter Jackson making this movie. And I got up to say, and I'm so proud of this, I said, ladies and gentlemen of the press, revise your expectations upwards. 3 predictions. This film, this first film, is going to be bigger than the new Star Wars, at which Peter Jackson went. Second, This trilogy is going to be one of the most remarkable events in film of the next 10 years. And in 20 years' time, you're going to look back and you're going to say, this is a masterpiece. And of course, I've got panned him. Actor says Jackson's new film will be bigger than Star Wars. Cut to 18 months later. John, you know when you said that we'd outgrow Star Wars? Yes, Peter? Well, we just did today.
It's funny, I always thought there was a very much a Chris Claremont feel to the show. Like, I don't know if you guys are trying for that, but it felt like Chris. Because you made the point about there was like 2 or 3 subplots going on, and if you guys have ever read a Chris Claremont X-Men book, there's like 8 plots at any given time, and it kind of felt like a very toned down version.
No, you're absolutely right, because the writers picked up the books because they had no idea, and they started reading what was there and reading what Claremont had set up, and they deliberately, I remember them saying that they deliberately had to delete a lot of those stuff.
It's a lot.
So that's like, you got an A storyline and a B storyline, maybe a C, that's it.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, silly question. You guys ready? Okay. There were a lot of cameos. Who got to choose the cameos?
Me.
Do you regret any of the cameos?
No, that was, see, as a kid, this is going back when I was younger, I remember reading DCs, and they're all like standalone stories, right? I'm reading Spider-Man in the early days, and then there's a panel of Thor going through the frame, and Spider-Man saying, hey, watch where you're throwing that thing, right? He's swinging out the way. But as a kid, I'm going, oh shit, they're all in the same city. There's Thor and there's Spider-Man in the same city. And at the bottom, Stanley's trying to cross-promote. He said, if you want to see where Thor is going, buy Kelsey Sandwich number 7, whatever number it was. That stuff didn't bother me. It was the fact that the thrill of seeing a cameo where you didn't expect it. Fast forward to today, when I did the show, I wanted to pay that forward to the fans so that they could have the same thrill I had when I read that in the books. And so the first time I tried to put Spider-Man in, they said no. Okay, fine. There was another episode called Slave Island, I think it's called. Again, writers didn't know the X-Men.
Genosha, right?
It's in Genosha. So they wrote Mutant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So I went home, brought my comic books, put on the Xerox machine. Okay, make this Blob, make that Mystique, make that Sunfire, blah, blah, blah. But keep the original names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sending it to the system, I heard nothing. I knew the system. So all the cameos never had a real name. When I did Black Panther, he was African Mutant number 3. There was never 1 and 2, just 3. And that's how everything never had the real names. And if I put the word alien or mutant in front of something, they had no idea. So Dr. Strange is a mutant magician.
I read the first book before I auditioned. Okay. I wasn't aware of it before, but I got the audition and it was very, very vague. No script, and the breakdown was 17-year-old girl, and that was it. Nail it. And so my team said, oh, there's a book, and so we postponed the audition by 2 days. I read the book in one night.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I mean, that's a statement. So you liked it a little bit.
I really loved it, and I was like, I will be a part of this. And didn't know what manifestation was at the time, but I certainly did, because I was just like, no, I'm meant to be part of this. I'm going to be in this movie. It doesn't matter that I have done 0 things beforehand, and it worked out.
It sounds like you had a vision.
I did. I like how you did that.
I like how you did that. Like, that was awesome. No, that's amazing. Guys, when you can admit that you read the books, it's fair.
Wait, there's books? Why didn't nobody tell me?
What are you, Charlie?
Yeah, I read the first book the night before the audition too, because called me and they said, hey, do you want to do a vampire movie? I said, no. And they said, well, it's based on these books. At the time, they had a following, but they weren't like massive. And I said, oh, okay. They said Captain Hardwick's directing. I said, she's cool. And then they said, well, do you have a script? They said, no. And then I said, well, you said it's based on a book. Can I get the book? And they said, yeah, but like Barnes and Noble's is closing in 10 minutes, and the audition's tomorrow. So I raced there. I got the book. I was just gonna honestly read like the Carlisle part, right? Like Carlisle. But I got to Carlisle, and I was like, oh. And then I got so interested in the story that I went back to page 1 and started rereading it.
All right. I want a good, clean fight. Nothing below the belt. Watch your rapid punches. Chewy. We've got Casual Vader.
This is a nice tight fit in the streets. That's what I was talking about.
We're here the second year in a row as Doug looks at all the swords, talks about all the swords, makes inappropriate jokes about the swords, and then doesn't buy us.
Whoa. All I'm saying was my fingers shouldn't be able to slide in the sheath while the sword's already inside. It's too loose. Not going to feel right.
He likes it tight. What's that?
This one's plastic. I want a metal one. I want to be able to hurt someone with it.
Say that louder.
Look, if you have brothers, Dave, I'm sure you can appreciate this. You want to be able to hurt someone with it if you're going to buy a sword. I'm just saying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See, like, look at this. See, it's like nothing, man.
I love how you stabbed me before checking what it was made of.
That's fine. It's definitely rubber.
Check this one out. Look how thick that one is.
This one?
Yeah.
This is a Welsh Buster sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't.
A gun sword.
I
For
know.
when you want to shoot someone after stabbing them.
Yeah, it's for Americans.
How about these?
Nice gun.
That's not a sword. Unless you count the weird sword brand guns in the 1990s Romeo and Juliet movie.
There we go. Yeah, no.
Apparently Terrifier 4 will involve mermaids and Easter. So I'm here with Art the Clown, who it appears has moved on from Christmas to Easter. I don't want to know what's in those. Can we expect Terrifier 4 to be an Easter movie? Maybe? Over here is the only thing that makes more money than the celebrities' autographs at conventions: incredibly overpriced convention food.
So I'm thinking, why am I here? And then somebody says, let's go up the gantry and see what we can see. It's 11 flights up.
you're already a mile high. It's like being in Denver, so that those of you who know Denver, you land on the airplane, and you get off, and you're kind of, you know, having a heart attack, because you're a mile in the air. I can see electronics, I see tubes of air. I said, what that's for? What is that for? And they say, in case something goes wrong. I want to do wrong. It's an escape hatch.
Many, of course. I mean, I was a Swedish kid. I just started acting seriously like a year before. Here I am with Sylvester Stallone and Tyler Perry and Paul Weathers and the rest of them. I think the scene I remember the most was probably when we were in Las Vegas fighting against Paul McQueen. Because I was, you know, it was just me and an assistant. It was just me and my boxing gear sitting in my dressing room. Going on, and I was waiting, and then this guy shows up, you know, knock on the door. This African American guy shows up, you know, and I'm like, yeah, can I help you? Yeah, Brown wants to see you. I'm like, okay. James Brown, you know, what is it with me? The Godfathers, I met him, and I was a fan of his music because I'm a drummer, you know. I loved James Brown, met him, and then they took me down, put me on this ring. It was on a hydraulic lift, you know, and you see the movie, my character's like, he's kind of raised into this ballroom, and there's like planes flying, and James Brown's playing, or whatever, and the look on my face, you know, it's like, what the hell's happening to me? And there was the look of Drago, but it was the look of Dolph, you know, what happened to my life, you know, it's changing in front of my eyes here. So I love that scene, that scene the kid, out of the innocent child, young man I was before.
Did I make that up?
I think that's our daughters. A bubble one?
I made it up. I think I'm confusing with the super. There was.
Take that.
Don't clap. Did you like hang it in the closet?
Yeah, there was a moment where I placed, it was kind of the first time Nick added to the weapons, and he placed the Super Soaker, which was way too big for the closet. But I love the double-sided battle axe. In fact, I got one at the end of this series. It's my second favorite souvenir next to, of course, my wife. And then, souvenir. If you joke. But then we had a kid, a daughter. I'm like, hey, what is really dangerous in my house that I need to think of? Like, maybe the double-sided battle axe. It's certainly just a prop. It's certainly not razor sharp. Nope, razor sharp. Yeah. So I had to dull that thing down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a cool one.
It has a sheath, but it is very sharp and dangerous.
Yeah, and it was like up precariously on a top shelf, just waiting to accidentally get it.
What else do you have from the show that they gave you?
Gave you, or I bought for $200.
They gave him, and then he had to pay like
for the title. Nick Burkhart's Toyota Land Cruiser of 1989. Let me tell you, it looks good from far, but it is far from good. Because we crashed it 1,000 times, but I still have it. I keep pouring money into that thing, and I love it. I
kind of am like, it's time to sell because it's like enormous. It's a tank.
She's a tank.
Yeah, and
I can't
and
ever.
David's emotionally attached.
Deeply emotionally attached, and it's so cool. 1989 Land Cruiser from like the favorite period of my life. So yes,
it's a cool car. We were both filming different TV shows in Vancouver after Grimm ended, and it was parked on the street a lot because half the time it wouldn't start, and we would see people taking photos of it, and I couldn't tell if these were like Grimm fans like, who recognized like, oh, that's Nick Burkhart's Land Cruiser.
I'll tell you.
Or if it was just people like, hey, there's a really cool 1989 Land Cruiser.
I think it was the latter.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what happened. Like I would drive it to work in Vancouver, and there were fans who would see, and they were just like, they couldn't rap because it's
like
happening.
Nick Burkhart driving like that.
I like it.
Like, where's the battle axe now? Just out of curiosity.
Sitting in on a shelf in Washington, very high up. Yeah.
Very high up.
But I want to wield it against like a home invader one day.
So I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Which bison scene was the most impressive to watch unfold during the film?
You know,
Which bison scene was the most
Yes.
yeah, I'll tell you, Sasha, his first morph as the captain into a Hexen beast was pretty baller. I mean, he ripped his shirt off midway through. He couldn't help himself.
These films are absolutely incredible, and I have so much respect for what you guys do, especially on the mocap side. Kevin Durant recently taught me how he was moving around as an ape, and it took me forever to try to figure out how to get it down, so credit to you guys. But I want to talk about the psychology of Caesar, inner movements of Caesar, and because everything mattered with that character. So can you walk us through how you kind of developed Caesar's mindset and psychology?
I mean, you've got to remember that when, Caesar is not just a chimp. Caesar was brought up by human beings. This is crucial. Caesar was a chimpanzee who had been infused with this Alzheimer's drug that was affecting him, where he was becoming more human-like, so he was constantly evolving. So in the rehearsal process, which was very short, in fact, for me, in the first movie, because I came to the role quite, late in the proceedings, in actual fact. But I based him on a real-life chimpanzee called Oliver, who in the 1970s had a lot of scientific experiments performed on him because they believed he was, in actual fact, potentially had mixed DNA and was potentially half human and half chimp. And he was taken around the world and had a lot of experiments done on him. But I want this sense of identity. Really, it's all about, the films are about identity and belonging. And Caesar is a chimpanzee that grows up thinking he's human until he's thrown in with his own kind in the facility in the first film, and he has to suddenly realize he thought he was a human in ape skin, and actually now he's got to be an ape for all of it, to galvanize all of these other disparate groups of chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas, and bring them all together.
I'm here to audition for a small role in The Hunt for Gold.
Well, let me think. What would you see yourself as?
An elf.
This is what happens when I leave them to go to the bathroom. Doug, you awake? This is my 18. Day 3. Yep. We're watching a dice game. That's how it goes here.
That's right.
I got 8 hours sleep over the last 3 nights. It's the welcome party.
Good day, citizen.
Yo, there's rebels over here. I'm not a rat. Final day here.
Yep.
Got a lot of panels today, a lot of horror stuff. Today's like the big horror day.
Got that one right.
It's going to be back to back to back, so we're going to try and see if we can talk to some vendors and or other artists and or other cool people before all that starts, because I don't know that we're going to have time to afterwards.
How's it going, everyone? This is Patrick of Halloween Year Round, and I'm with the world famous Guy Gilchrist.
Well, I'm not that world famous if you don't know my last name. Gilchrist.
Oh.
And this is Alan? What's your name?
Patrick.
Oh, and this is world famous Patrick of It's Christmas, Nightmare Before Christmas, all year round. And we're doing a podcast, right? And this is for NBC Radio, I believe, in 1933. Orson Welles is here. He's directing it. Hi, no. I'm Guy Gilchrist. It's very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you,
And I'm the
too.
Muppet guy, and so we have fun with each other, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we're having fun. Muppet Monsters, yes.
Yes, that's right.
Muppet Monsters.
And I have to say, just incredible designs overall. Like, what was it like working with Jim Henson and helping to design some of the Muppets? Like any particular favorites that you had in terms of designing?
Well, you have a lot of questions, Patrick, all at the same time. So which one do you want first? What was it like working with Jim?
Yeah.
Jim was the greatest, most creative person, and I've had an opportunity to work with many, many geniuses over the years. You know, Chuck Jones, Friz Freleng, and on, Steven Spielberg, on, and they're all incredibly wonderful. But Jim was very, very special, and being able to work with him and being in his universe was just the greatest thing. I come out to these conventions, and after Jim passed away in 1990. I went to work with MGM and Warner Brothers and all of the major studios, Universal. But then about 10 years ago or so, I started to realize that there are many kids out there, because Jim's been now gone. This was like, even 2014, 15, I started to realize that there are kids that were 24 years old that were like, finishing college and starting to raise families that weren't even born when Jim passed away. And so, Disney does what Disney does, and Brian and his sisters do an amazing job. And I don't want Jim to be forgotten, because it's just as important. His characters, Kermit, Rolf, I bring the boys here, Rolf the dog. It's important for the characters to be remembered, but Jim's character and his spirit is even more so, And what was it like to design stuff? Well, it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Any particular design that you were especially proud of?
No, not at all, because whatever is my favorite, what I'm working on at that very, very moment. Every single, whatever I have to offer the world as far as my creativity goes into whatever I'm working on at that very moment. So they're all my favorites.
Wow, that's a beautiful answer. I really mean that.
Oh, I'm glad you do. I would hate for you to be insincere.
I've always loved Rolf myself.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, pal, I was big in the 60s. Then Disney bought us, and now I live in a box. But I'm coming back, I'm talking to the union.
Well, thank you very much, sincerely.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Very, very nice to meet you, Patrick. And hi, everybody in Halloween Year Round.
Hi, I'm Joseph Schmalke. I am the writer, artist, and creator for several indie horror titles. I'm also the publisher of Midnight Factory. We specialize in horror, sci-fi, and the bizarre. And I'm here today at Philly Fan Expo with a bunch of my titles, graphic novels, and single issues. I do a lot of variant covers for various horror titles as well. And two of our featured books today are 7 Years in Darkness, which is about a group of children conscripted to the Academy of Black Magic for 7 years, and while 72 walk in, only 7 can walk out alive. This is a real-time series. The first 2 years are done. Year 3 is coming out at comic book shops worldwide at the end of this month. And then We Don't Kill Spiders, which is about a necromantic witch and a berserker detective hunting a serial killer during the Viking Age.
Question over here. Yes, I'm going to come here. Would you stand up, sir? And just
So what was your favorite movie you went through that?
What was my favorite movie? Well, to work on or to be in. Because the first one was a nightmare. Episode, well, it was called Star Wars. And we've been working on a costume for 6 months at the studio, and it still wasn't ready by the time we flew out 2 years ago. And so, on day one in the desert, there I was, wearing the little underclothes things, and then a whole team of people, 6 people. The costume was laid out on trestles over here, and there was like 17 pieces, I think. And gradually I stood there. And we started with the little corset thing here with the wires on, which is actually just a corset thing with a so now I'm standing there, feeling very self-conscious. I remember this suit had been made to the mold of my body, so it was meant to fit. So we started with that. And then the next thing, of course, is this area. So kind of pulling on. Oops. And there we are. And now the leg. And a foot. And a so now I'm good from here down. And now they come with the front and the back. So now I'm sort of walked in with my arm sticking out, so and a hand. And now I'm back. And then they come at me with a neck. So that fitted in there. And then came, now this had taken about an hour and a half. And then they came with the head.
All together now, we're playing that big, hellish hell center fucking feeling with the fight. I had something there, almost had something there. Very smooth landing there. That was great. I really stuck the landing, dude. This is like one of 4 conventions this month. Okay, you're not going to get my 8 material 100% of the time. How are we all doing? Sundays are always an interesting one because we've been signing for all of you all fucking weekends.
I feel pretty good actually. I don't know. I did yoga.
Good answer. I feel pretty. I'm having a ball. Philly rules. Dude, I do not say that everywhere I go, and you all know that. I'm very candid where I don't like to go. Philly is a place I love to be, so this has been very nice. Everybody's been very kind. Shut up, I'm not done. Shush. It's a big compliment. Everybody's been very nice, very kind, very warm, but also very funny. There's a humor to Philly that I really appreciate. So thank you for being funny at our tables too. Yes. And some of you shakingly nervous for no reason. Is it right? They're hoping their jokes land like we really hope they're talking about us right now.
I'm most well known for video game acting, Resident Evil, Leon Kennedy sort of thing. Who's some Resi fans here? Woo! Almost all of you, okay. For those who did not raise their hand, go play Resident Evil tonight. There's about 24 games to choose from. Have your pick.
You've done like a ton of stuff, right? Do you have a favorite medium to work in, or are you the type of actor that's like, I just love to do the work?
No, I do.
Okay, what is it?
Yes, I do a lot of things, but I'm predominantly a very physical actor. So I prefer the live action stuff, like on camera, film and TV, but that's how I got into, I'm sorry, I'm eating an Altoid, and it's like sorry about that.
Okay, ASMR.
But my heart is in performance capture. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's not just the voiceover stuff in the booth, doing the lines. This is when you're acting almost like theater. You're in kind of like an empty warehouse of a room with like 100 infrared cameras staring at you. And you've got the funny suit on with the little shiny balls. That's what we do. So we act out these scenes in these games, just like theater. You do the whole scenes with your scene partners and everything, and then they just take your digital skeleton with those shiny balls, and then they put an avatar over you. They're recording your facial expressions, your voice, everything at the same time. And that's what I prefer because I feel like my body is into it. Whereas in back of the microphone, if you're in the booth doing voiceover, which I also do for these projects, I still embody the movements. For instance, for the gamers here, you know, when you do those efforts, when Leon has to climb on something, it's that like.
At the end of the thing, did 3D give Child's gas and drink to reveal whether or not he was the thing.
I think you're asking for spoilers that you should just. You don't want to spoil it.
No, hang on a second. I'm not going to tell you who's the thing
Everyone wants to know.
You got it?
That's not. Come on, people. That's the wonder of film. My goodness. Great here. Which ones do you like?
Horror films have been with us since the beginning of cinema, and they're pretty much the same. Every generation recreates horror for themselves. And most of them are shit, like you say. A few are fair, and then there's a few really good or great ones. And those are the ones I care about.
You're gonna share those?
I have any funny stories? Not really. See, movies are just a whole lot of work. That's what they're all about. You get up early in the morning, you go to the set, the coffee, you sit in the chair, you talk to the actors, you tell them what to do, put the camera someplace, and you start shooting. It's not fun. Everybody's not laughing and having a great time. We're working our buns off. So that movie was a lot of work, but I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the result. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you.
What sort of pranks and shenanigans occurred on the set of Superbad that you can share with us?
Okay, great question, Caleb, who is not here at the moment. You know, that was kind of annoying because I was 17 when I did Superbad, so I had to have a tutor on set. So in between takes and setups, everybody else would go have fun and rewatch what they just did, and I had to skedaddle to go do algebra, which was very frustrating. So I wasn't involved in too many of those kind of shenanigans, but there was one prank where which is funny because Steve Gutenberg is here, but I didn't know, what's the movie he did with the robot? Short Circuit. I had never seen it, and Jonah and Mike and Bill convinced me that it was a documentary. So, I gotta tell Steve that actually. So my dumbass just assumed that was a documentary the whole time. So they really got me with that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I gotta let him know.
Sam, I was wondering, were you exactly like McLovin in high school?
I don't think I was. Like, that guy was so fucking confident. Fogel, McLovin. I would be terrified to try to buy liquor. I would be terrified to try to go hit on girls on the dance floor. So I didn't think I was, but obviously there's like parts riffing with the boys. I was in high school at the time, just like the characters, so I was very used to just like riffing and shitting on my boys and, you know, roasting them. So that part, there was definitely a little bit of me coming through. Questions? Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you, what was your experience making Fright Night, which in my opinion is one of the few remakes I actually like better than the original.
My man, thank you. You're gonna get roasted on the internet for that.
I already do.
But I appreciate that. Fright Night, I don't know if anyone saw it, there's a movie from the 1980s, which is so big and loud and campy and gory, and we kind of took the darker route with it. And that movie holds a very special place in my heart because that's where I met Anton Yelchin, who is no longer with us. And him and I became very, very, very close on that movie. We became very close friends after the movie. And actually, the musician I play with, Ben Queller, I met him through Anton. One of my best friends, Ryan, I met through Anton. I have a tattoo right here that says Lurker, because we would lurk around Albuquerque together, smoking shitty weed, get drunk,
trying to hit on girls, and so like that movie is always one of the best experiences of my life because I met him. Yeah, so that's why.
I think movies like Back to the Future just aren't made like that. It's not the same. I think Robert Zemeckis is a master storyteller. It's absolutely incredible. Can you guys all share your experience working with Robert on that film?
What was that?
Robert Zemeckis, working with Robert Zemeckis on Back to the Future. He's a storyteller. Can someone work with him?
I love him. He's just got a grasp of everything he knows about, kind of all in his head, you know. So, and he knows how to talk to actors. So sometimes the director knows how to pass on what they like out of the actors and the actor knows what he wants. Not all.
Great question, because I really liked listening to your answer. Jimmy, what was it like working with Rob Zemeckis? What do you have to say about him? The director. The director.
What about Zemeckis?
Anything, what about him?
He was a wonderful director to work with. He just trusted you. He said, he made you feel very free to do anything. And he, along with Michael J. Fox, made it a very special and pleasurable experience.
I love that.
And I was thinking, in combination with Dean Cundy, who's one of the greatest cinematographers on the planet, whoever was or will be. But Bob Zemeckis was so specific. Like what Jimmy said, he had it already in his head because he would say, look there, then look there, then look there. And we would do what he said, but not realize that when you see it on the screen, he's a genius.
But seriously, is there anything hurt? Are there any medical issues? You sure? Sir, I gotta do something. I need patience to keep my practice. That's why it's called a practice.
Dr. Mario, can I see your medical license?
Sir, I'll have you know that I graduated top of my class at Mushroom Kingdom Online University. It even says so on my badge. Needs energy? Oh, you see, I got the happy pills, I got the party pills, I got the energy right here.
What if I ate some mushrooms and I'm seeing weird things?
Let me document it, and then maybe I can get the paper turned in and get a terrific prize money for scientific advancement. Got to have these documentations. Does anybody have any psychological issues? I'm an amateur psychologist. And since I'm amateur, you can get a discount for it. Sure? You know, part of the idea of like playing along with material is that you don't say no, that you go along with it just to see what happens.
Dr. Mario, everyone here has a psychological problem. This is a convention.
Well, sir.
When you want somebody gone and you don't want to wait too long, call the immediate murder professionals. Hand grenades or cyanide will make it look like suicide. The immediate murder professionals. We do our job so well because we come straight up from hell. We'll kill your husband or your wife, we'll even let you keep the knife. We're the immediate murder professionals. Kids die for free.